It's Amy, your Gray Girlfriend, and welcome to the Gray Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. First, let me say that I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me. Out of the more than 3 million podcasts available, you chose this one, so thank you. This podcast was created for high-achieving women, real women who face and conquer real challenges, real women who are ready to take their lives to the next level. Between us all, we've been through it all, and I'm here to tell you, you can thrive despite it. So whether you're commuting to or from work or doing one of the other 50,000 things you do on a weekly basis, pop in your earbuds, my friend, and let's go. Today's episode is entitled Good Grief. If you've ever thought, I don't feel like myself anymore, or if you've missed a version of you that doesn't quite fit your life now, take a deep breath. You're not strange. You're not broken. You're just grieving. You're going through a profoundly human process that has more layers than we talk about at dinner parties or therapy sessions. Grief is more than what we think. When most of us hear the word grief, we think funerals and heartbreak or watching someone sob in a movie because a loved one is gone. But grief is sneakier and more interesting than that. Grief shows up whenever something meaningful shifts or dissolves or even improves in our lives. That might sound surprising to some of you. After all, why would we grieve a positive change? But here's the twist. Every time we let go of something, an old dream or a sense of security or even a limiting belief, we're also letting go of a piece of who we thought we were. It's normal and it's necessary. There's a secret grief no one talks about, and that's the grief of losing your old self. Ever notice that after a big change, like dropping a bunch of weight or leaving a stressful job or finishing a healing journey, you don't just celebrate? Given the accomplishment, you think you'd be jumping up and down with joy, but instead you feel kind of weird or a little sad or maybe a lot sad. If so, that's grief knocking. See, we get attached to our habits and roles, even the ones that make us unhappy. Our brains love routine and our egos love predictability. When something big shifts, we don't just lose an external thing, we lose the person we were in that old world. It may sound a bit strange, but grieving who you used to be is every bit as real as grieving any, quote, real loss. Think about the version of you that finally prioritized self-care after years of neglect. She might miss the thrill of pushing through, even if all that pushing through wasn't serving her. Or the overachiever who quits hustling for a slower, kinder pace. She might grieve her old adrenaline rush, even as she learns to love calmer days. Or a person who finally sets boundaries loses their nice identity, which may leave a bittersweet gap behind. These feelings can be confusing, especially when culture doesn't really make space for them. You should be happy now, people say, without acknowledging or even realizing that every rebirth comes with a letting go too. So let's talk about every kind of grief. You know, grief isn't picky. Yes, it's there when you lose a friend or move to a new city or end a relationship or say goodbye to a job. But it's also hiding in more everyday losses as well. Losses such as the friend group that drifts apart because you've grown in different directions, or the child who heads off to college, leaving you with a quieter house and a redefined identity, or the body that changes after childbirth or illness or just time. All of these moments ask us to say a small goodbye to who we were. Because to truly embrace who we're becoming, we have to make space for these micro griefs. You can try to ignore them, but ignoring them doesn't help. They just show up masked as anxiety or restlessness or nostalgia. Processing grief, big or small, is important because it sets us free. When we face our feelings, we actually move through them faster. It's like giving grief a landing strip so it can take off rather than circling endlessly overhead. Also, naming loss gives us power. Instead of feeling fragile, we recognize grief as a signpost of life's riches. Allowing ourselves to grieve frees up energy we would otherwise use to suppress or numb and ignore what needs to be felt. It frees up energy for more creativity and more joy, and yes, even more space for new adventures. Your body feels grief too. Did you know that grief can hide in your body? Maybe you feel tension in your chest during stressful transitions or a flutter in your stomach when you look at an old photo. Maybe there's nostalgia in your bones or aches that you can't quite explain when your world shifts. That's normal. Our nervous systems record the history of our joys and losses. The more we let ourselves feel, the less those feelings need to show up as mystery aches or unexplained tiredness. I encourage you to give yourself permission to grieve. Think about it. What if you could give yourself permission to grieve the old you, the one you've outgrown, the one who needed defenses or comfort foods or busyness to get through each day? What would change for you? Maybe you'd stop pressuring yourself to get over it quickly. Grief takes its own path and pace. Maybe you'd allow waves of nostalgia or sadness to flow, knowing they're not regression, but reminders of love and growth and effort. Maybe you'd feel less alone. When we understand all loss deserves acknowledgement, we feel more connected to each other and to our own journey. I encourage you to create some simple rituals to honor everyday grief. Remember, ritual isn't just for big ceremonies. Here are a few things you can try at home whenever you notice old feelings stirring. Maybe light a candle and say thank you to your old self. Maybe write yourself a thank you note for everything that version of you did to get you where you are now. Take an awareness walk, and by an awareness walk, I mean don't listen to music or a podcast or a book on Audible, but instead listen for any feelings that bubble up. Let them voice what they need to say. Make a small letting go box and fill it with notes or mementos or symbols of who you're leaving behind and tuck it away when you're ready. Start looking at grief as a bridge, not a destination. The point isn't to get stuck in sadness forever, but to use grief as a bridge. On the other side of that bridge, there's wisdom and compassion and deep joy. Grief lets us metabolize the past so we can show up fresh for what's next. You're allowed to honor every version of yourself. You're allowed to feel grateful for their lessons. That's not weakness, it's growth. Every ending you acknowledge makes room for a bigger and more beautiful beginning. No matter your story, your transformation deserves honor, even those awkward, bittersweet moments when you miss what's gone. That's not weakness, my friend. That's life, and you're living it beautifully. I'm wishing you peace and plenty of goodbyes that make way for a bunch of brand new hellos. Until next time, this is Amy, your gray and brand new hello-loving girlfriend. Hey, it's Amy. Did you know that what we tell ourselves about ourselves impacts every decision we make? Every decision. So if you're feeling stuck in any aspect of your life, RTT can help. Want to know more? Go to amyblairlawson.com or click on the calendar link in the show notes to schedule your complimentary 30-minute consultation. Oh, one last thing. I can't forget the legal stuff. You know what I'm talking about. The language a lawyers write that I have to read to you. Well, here it goes. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. While I am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, a certified divorce financial analyst, and a licensed investment advisor, this podcast is not intended as a substitute for a private session or a consultation. Got it? All right. Until next time, wishing you peace and plenty of all good things.